All right, let's talk about what I call the illegal wars, uh, Iraq and Afghanistan. I don't believe we should have gone into either country. I mean, some people will agree with part of it and not all of it. They might say that uh, Iraq was an illegal action, but Afghanistan we had justification. Well, in my eyes, we didn't have justification. I mean, we were attacked on 9/11, but it wasn't by the Afghanistan government. It was by some group of terrorists, actually from Saudi Arabia. So, but we found reason to go into Afghanistan. We didn't learn from the Soviet Union, so we should have learned a great deal from them. But anyway, we went in there contrary to my belief, which I got to tell you, I ran as far back as 2006, and my views have not changed much since then in terms of the Iraq-Afghanistan war. I mean, at that time I was taking classes at UNLV in Middle East politics, and the professor there, who was from the country of Iran, just predicted that this would happen today. And I remember going into his office and asking him, why doesn't Bush have advisors like you? And his answer to me was, he does. He just doesn't believe them. He doesn't do what they say, and he doesn't listen to them. So, and that's what we have today. We have a country like Iraq. We have basically three divisions in the people that all hate each other. And Saddam Hussein kept them all together. Although he was, in some ways, a terrorist, he kept them afoot. And now the country's all broken up. It's going to wind up in civil war. Everybody predicted that. I don't know why we didn't understand it. I mean, you can't. And one of the things we cannot do is we cannot take American democracy and bring it to countries that don't want it. I mean, for one thing you learn about democracy is everybody's got to want democracy for it to work. And it's clear in that country or Afghanistan that they don't want democracy. They have a religious culture, an ideology, all to their own, and that's their thing. We don't like it in many cases. We don't go along with it, but it's theirs, and they don't like our form of government, so that's ours. And we got to stop putting our nose where it doesn't belong in other countries' businesses. And as far as the troops, I mean, I definitely support the troops. I just have a problem with the politicians, that bring us in those places and put our young men and women at arm's way. I mean, this should not be done. I mean, and I always had a problem with the count of the death tolls in these wars. In the beginning, they were on the front page. Now you got to really look for it. I mean, it's just terrible today to have to go through this. I'm so glad that I didn't have children that went to the war like that, because I don't know what I would do, frankly, but it's not right. Our troops should be brought home. We live in a time of technology. We should employ technology when it comes to these things. If we're going to do anything, let's use technology. We can shoot rockets to the moon, control them from the earth. We can use smart bombs. We can do everything. There's no need to have men on the ground like that in those countries, especially in countries where you can't identify the enemy. I mean, it's not like World War II or even the Korean War or even Vietnam in most cases, where the enemies wore a different uniform. Here, you don't know who the enemy is. How can you fight a war if you don't know who the enemy is? So that's my stance. We have right now, I believe we have troops in 132 nations around the world. Let's start looking at our own nation. Let's bring these people back, and let's take care of our own people here. I mean, the cost of doing something like that is outrageous. I mean, we support the South Korean government with troops on the North Korean border, which is 50 years plus that we've been doing this for, and we're supporting their economy. They don't pay for it. I mean, in terms of they're the ones that buy our notes. They're richer than we are. So we have to do something about these things. If you're going to make budget cuts, let's make budget cuts where they make sense. Let's go through the budget and redline items that we don't need. So that's my views on on the battlefield, as you might say.